I've got a special announcement along with Woz here. For about the last year, Bill Martens and I have been working on a brand new special version of the original Wozpak from 1978. It's been out of print since then. It has Woz's original handwritten notes, program listings, diagrams, contributions from other people. Woz was kind enough to write a foreword for it, along with Andy Hertzfeld and Randy Wigginton and Wendell Sander, who created the Apple III, and we're super proud of it. It's actually available online now. Sorry we couldn't get them available for the show. And there's a special KFest price available through the end of the month. It's 350 pages. And if Woz wouldn't mind standing up just briefly and saying something about his original work.
Oh, Lord. I wanted to create the whole fun thing like what we just saw. You know, I went through life lucking out to learn, getting all my skills about loving computers and knowing how to use them and build them and design them by stumbling by accident onto other things in my life that other people had done. So I had read some listings and, oh, this is how you can turn ads into a multiply. And this was the most exciting thing in my life. So when we came out with the Apple II, I thought, you know what? I was so influenced by seeing what other people had done and learning from it. I don't want to just put out a product, here's what you use. I want it to be the teaching tool that other people could find, oh my gosh, I love learning about these little register things and instructions and computers and programming. So I wanted to document everything I could. Of course, I couldn't afford an assembler. So every bit of the code in the Apple II was actually handwritten. And then I wrote the code, the program, and I wrote the hexadecimals, and I typed the hexadecimal in. What's in the Wozpak is mostly stuff that just before we were going to come out with the Apple II, we wrote an assembler, or got an assembler for the 6502, typed everything in so it's nice and readable. And I wrote a lot of routines, but I put comments in explaining how they worked. It was intended as a teaching tool. Our first president, Mike Scott, very important person. Oh, he wanted also the world to find out all this stuff and learn how the Apple II worked, and developers could learn how to make cards and what address ranges they had to put what kind of code in by following examples, and people could write programs in assembly language as well as BASIC. And so Mike Scott did a huge amount of work of assembling the pieces, different pieces of code I'd written and creating the Wozpak, and a few other people. And Mike Scott was also very important because he's the guy that let Randy Wigginton do the that THE spreadsheet he spoke about yesterday. Mike Scott set him up at home, gave him a letter quality printer, computer, you know, and a nice salary, and just let him, you know, basically it was Mike Scott's idea. He was a great president we started Apple with, but he's one of the reasons that, you know, he believed in getting all this information out. You think about Apple nowadays, it's kind of closed. You wouldn't want anything out, but we got away with it then. And it really is, it's really good and instructive, and also if you're expert and you're debugging things, it gives you a little insights into, aha, this is what's going on, or I might want to do it differently, change things and write my own. So it's really a piece for other people to learn from so they could do their own software. That's, and the Wozpak, what happened was we didn't have any manuals at first. We didn't have quite time, and we were shipping the early Apple IIs with, you know, the plastic cases that were made by a foam process. They didn't even have slots in them. It was, you know, we could only make a few a day, and we had no manual. But when people called up and they said, can I get any information about how to write programs for it, you know, whatever, we would just take a bunch of Xerox copies of all these sheets of programs I'd done, and we'd send it out. It was called the Wozpak. Anybody who called and asked for it could get it. But it's nice to see it in this form now.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for those kind words. And,
thank you for
and this is the only copy that's here, but feel free to come up anytime and look through it. Yeah, the web address, that might be useful, right? So it's wozpak.callapple.org. Wozpak.callapple.org. WOZPAK.
Okay.
Awesome. What is it?
It's $39.95, a special introductory price. It's
how much? I'm sorry.
$39.95. Thanks, everyone.